This is not catastrophic flash flood could sweep through downstream villages with devastating force. But amidst the destruction, there was a miracle. Nearly all of Blatten's 300 residents had been evacuated in time. Weeks of geological monitoring had paid off. Scientists noticed early warning signs. A fractured rock mass perched precariously above the glacier began accelerating. First centimeters per day, then meters per hour. Simultaneously, the glacier beneath showed signs of abnormal flow, surging at speeds close to 1 meter per day. In glaciology, that is extreme. Thermal imaging revealed rising levels of meltwater within the glacier, reducing internal friction and weakening the ice's structure. The rock above exerted mechanical pressure, increasing internal stress inside the ice. It was a perfect storm: unstable rock above, overstressed ice below. When the rock collapsed, the glacier lost its anchor, and the entire mountainside gave way in a chain reaction of destruction. And behind it all lies a chilling truth. The permafrost that once acted like glue, holding the high alpine slopes together, is thawing. Centuries-old frozen ground is losing cohesion as temperatures rise. Switzerland has already seen over 10% glacier loss in just 2 years. These changes are no longer subtle. They are destabilizing the very foundations of the Alps. This was not merely a climate disaster. It was a geological chain event, complex, multifactorial, and triggered by a long interaction of natural forces: rock weathering, glacier dynamics, internal ice stress, and hydrology. Climate change acted as an accelerant. It made what might have taken decades happen in days. The collapse was so massive that it triggered a 3.1 magnitude earthquake. Seismic tremors rippled through the region, potentially weakening nearby slopes even further. Swiss air rescue and the army responded immediately. Drones with thermal and multispectral sensors mapped the devastation. Hundreds of geologists, hydrologists, engineers, and search teams rushed to the scene. The newly formed dam on the Lonza River became the next major concern. Water began accumulating immediately. Engineers now face a race against time, assessing whether a controlled drainage or diversion is possible before nature decides for them. Sensors placed across the debris field constantly monitor shifting pressures to warn of any sudden collapse. Displaced residents now live in temporary shelters, but uncertainty hangs over their future. Experts doubt whether rebuilding Blatten on the same site is safe. The terrain may remain too unstable for years or permanently. Long-term studies are underway, but hopes are dim. The implications stretch far beyond this village. With over 1,200 glaciers, Switzerland is on the front line of glacial collapse. This event is now a defining case study for future alpine hazard planning. It is prompting urgent reevaluation of glacier-adjacent communities, real-time monitoring, networks, and climate-adapted infrastructure. Blatten has lost so much, but what it preserved is priceless: human life. Through science, vigilance, and swift evacuation, may be buried next. If this story moved you, share it. The next disaster may already be thawing.
The mountain in less than a minute, generating enough energy to trigger a 3.1 magnitude earthquake. The seismic tremors, though moderate, were strong enough to cause additional instability nearby. Hydrologists, search and rescue experts, and civil engineers arrived in Blatten and surrounding areas to assist. A key contributing factor identified by experts is the thawing of alpine permafrost. This is the frozen layer of ground that, for centuries, has acted like glue, binding high-altitude mountain faces together. As global and regional temperatures have risen in the past decades, this frozen ground is warming and losing moisture. As it thaws, rock becomes more fractured, loose, and prone to collapse. Switzerland's Federal Institute for Sloped Research, SLF, has reported record-breaking glacier loss in recent years, 6% in 2022 and another 4% in 2023, and models show that such changes directly influence slope stability. However, experts are clear that this was not simply a climate disaster. It was a geological event, complex, multifactorial, and the result